live edition of the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you live on Power Talk. Please go to our website, powertalk.live. Download our free app and stream all of our live local programming, including Solomon on Blast, the Jim Parisi Show, and yours truly, the Jake Feinberg Show. And we can't thank you enough for making us part of your day today. And it is a high honor to connect with a gentleman who has been one of the greatest melodic improvisers in this country's history, doing it primarily on the Hammond B3, first with the Carlos Santana Band, and then with his own conglomerate, Journey. He has now been inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Gregg Rolie, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thanks, Jake. That's great.
How are you? How are you, man?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
Well, listen, we have a game on this program called Name That Voice. I want you to listen to this voice. I've been on this trip for about 6 years now. I want you to take a listen to this, and we'll come back and analyze it, okay?
Okay, all right.
And they got Steve Gadd to play. In the interim, I'm in San Francisco still, and I have time off, and Herbie Herbert, who's a manager, approached me and said, hey, listen, Neil Sean and Ross Valerie want to know if you would like to come and jam with them for that. I said, yeah, sure, whatever. So I went and jammed with them. I have tapes of that, too. And they really loved it. And they approached me and said, hey, listen, we're starting this band along with Gregg Rolie, who also used to be in Santana, and we'd like to know if you want to do it. And so by then, Chick had called me twice again, and I said, and I made a commitment to go back with Chick. And so I said, I can't do it, guys, because I'm going to go back to New York and play with Chick. And so I didn't do it, but that band was Journey.
All right, Mr. Rolie, what do you got for us? Who do you think that is?
Man, I have no idea. This the past 2 weeks, I couldn't tell you.
That was Lenny White, the drummer.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so Lenny...
I'll be damned.
So, I mean, the story goes that Herbie approached him and said, listen, you know, these guys want to jam with you. And obviously he was split between Return to Forever and that band turned out to be Journey. But, I my question for you is, like Ansley Dunsbar, how much did he drive that band? Because Lenny was a spectacular drummer, and so was Ansley.
Yeah.
But I do want you to just talk about the concept of the rhythm of Journey and how much Ansley contributed to that.
Well, what happened there was we went through a lot of drummers. That's why I was trying to figure out who is this, and we had a lot of drummers come by, and then we looked for Ansley because of his work with Zappa and John Mayall, and the fact that he could play all kinds of different. I think one of his claims to fame was that he could play 2 different time signatures at the same time, and I couldn't do that. I can tell you that now. That's probably why he can be a helicopter pilot, because it's the same idea. Anyway, he as far as the music went, we were a progressive fusion rock band with vocals, and it was different, and we needed somebody that could really heighten the music and take it up there. Neil's solo work was always extreme and hot, and it's like, so when we would Songs of a Lifetime is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Song of a Lifetime, he played a solo on there that's incredible. By the way, he also goes, when he was done with it, he said, I'm going to double it. And he did, right there. I couldn't believe he did it. You mean you remembered that? He was pretty incredible. But Ansley could add to that. It was like a jam band that taking things to a height, not just sitting there. And he had a lot of musicality to be able to do that, and so that was his biggest attribute for us.
Well, because I really need to talk to you about this, because I want the Gregg Rolie concept. I'm 39 years old. Younger generations are extremely hung up on where the one is on the bandstand. Where's the one? Where's the one? Where's the one?
Yeah.
Okay. And I love talking to your generation. I don't care who it is, especially some of the old school jazzers, because like James Jamerson used to get upset with people because he said any note can be the one. I want the Gregg Rolie concept of, okay, any note can be the one. And then furthermore, when you were in, Journey or Santana or your own bands, when you guys as a collective lose the one, and then all come back in on the one. I want you to talk about how exhilarating that feeling is.
Sometimes it's absolutely frightening. but the point is that if you're playing the way we all learn to play is off of each other, and somebody could change where that one is. It probably wasn't even designed to do that, but with playing with the guys, after a while, you develop, okay, we're going to smooth this out, and one's going to change. Now one's this. One's 2.5. One's this. It doesn't matter. You just got to get there. So that's kind of how that applies. Because in my eyes, music is emotional mathematics. You are counting. At certain places where it just becomes ethereal, there's still a clock going on in your head. And hopefully it's the same clock as everybody else. But if it isn't, there was a new one.
Yeah, no, I think this is so important because it's not TikTok time, right? I mean, but there is a clock in everybody's head, and that's really the thing I need you to explain is nonverbal communication on the bandstand, so that people are secure enough to know that if they do lose the one, that they trust in themselves to come back in. You said playing off each other. And so, I mean, I want you to talk about how maybe an experience early on in the Palo Alto scene, the Nairobi Lounge or wherever you used to gig. If there was a time when you learned where your ears grew the most on the bandstand.
Well, it definitely was with Santana, because that's how we developed our music. And sometimes Carlos, kind of like John Lennon. Sometimes he's playing in 7. He doesn't even know it. I've heard that.
Right.
He just this is the way it sounds and feels, and so he does it. Well, Carlos sometimes would turn things around, and we just learn how to develop to do that. Nobody's trying to do those things; it just kind of goes, and so you just have to learn how to make it grow together. So you end up, if you end well. No one will know.
No one will know.
Nobody will know. You just think, wow, that was interesting. Yes, it was. But it's not like a plan. Jazz is much more fluid with that. And jazz players can really take it all over the place. And then there's little key musical lines that can draw right back. Well, this is how you get back out. This little line. And that's, we developed the same thing. Even though it's jamming in the middle, there's a way in and a way out. And so if it gets kind of confusing, that line becomes your way back in.
Do you, do you believe that music should be part of mathematics in school? If so, because there is so much mathematics, subdivisions.
Yes, there is.
Go ahead.
I think the fact that they have dropped art and music, which absolutely helps the analytical side of your brain. It makes you, because it is developed that way. It's just, all of it is, when you look at a painting, there's a design to it. There's more thought to this than just slopping some stuff on there. Although there's the guys that do that too. But it's thought out, and music is definitely thought out. And like I said, if you're going to start a song here, and even if you take it through an ethereal type of music, you got to end it, and it has to say something. It can't just be a bunch of gibberish. So it really does help the analytical side of your brain, and it's been proven. And so what are these guys in the schools that are going to make everybody a bunch of bean counters? My God, man, what a loss to the world.
I agree, and that's my question is, how do you, we're preaching to the choir here, but the idea is that, we've gotten to a point also with music where you know, I remember talking to this great drummer, Charlie Persip, this jazz drummer, and he's like, you know, we ain't playing, man. I mean, we're not playing music. Playing, insinuates that it's for free. Now you have these things where it's like you play for the door or you play for free, and so you can't quantify music. So therefore, there's no value to it. And I'm just wondering, from your point of view, if you were talking to some skeptics, what you would say to them to push back to say, no, this is worthy to incorporate within the academic structure for young peeps.
Well, it's very simple as far as being paid. You know, if you go to a doctor and you don't pay them, they just send you to collection.
Right.
You know, the whole concept of not being paid to play music, it's an intellectual property. It's, you know, it's a business. They call it the music business. And you know, so therefore, you should be paid for your work. Whether it's, you know, a nickel 98, whatever you can negotiate or whatever. But, you know, just accepting not being paid just drags the whole industry down. And I disagree with it. I mean, I would just tell them flat, well, I'm not coming. You know, it's that simple. And so that's what I would pass on to young people. You should, you know, they have developed this thing in clubs where you pay to play. You pay the bar a certain amount of money, which covers their overhead, and then you can play. Well, it used to be, you had to go and audition to play in a bar,
right.
And they would have good music because they auditioned people. No, I'm sorry, you know, go back, do your homework, and you come back. But you got paid to play, and now you're paying them so you can play. Well, that means the band doesn't have to be. You just get daddy to come in there with a lot of dollars, and you can go in there and pretend that you're really doing something, and you know, without being any good. You don't have to be. And so that whole concept is kind of destroying the growth of a young musician to be better and to get there, because he won't be denied. All you got to do is pay somebody.
Talking to Gregg Rolie here on the Jake Feinberg Show. He just was inducted for the second time into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I have a very honest. I want you to be as honest as possible, but you know, I've done all the interviews with Garibaldi and, you know, Emilio from Tower, and you know, I know you guys did. Journey goes on these huge tours. How do you continue to keep yourself? Well, I guess here's the better question is, how do you keep yourself stimulated on the bandstand and not allow the music to get formulaic? Because you've been playing this stuff for so long. I mean, you've been playing the same tunes for so long. And I mean, have you ever played the same song once?
Well, sure, because it didn't work, and then we put it away. So quite simply, you better write good stuff, because if people want to hear it, they're going to want to hear it everywhere you go. And you should love. I love playing Black Magic Woman. I love singing it to this day. All of that stuff came from the heart and soul. And so, you know, just playing a bunch of extra notes on something doesn't interest me unless it's really going to go somewhere.
Sure.
It's not the same thing. If you're just jamming out a solo, yeah, you get to play, you know, something else. But the whole idea for me of jamming out a solo is going to be the one that I'm going to do, and I end up playing pretty much what I record, because people want to hear it, and they're kind of melodic. They're not like it's not like a bunch of scattered notes you could just throw out there, and it's designed to get high. And so once I get to that point, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I might change something up in the middle, but I don't mind playing the same song if they're good songs. So my whole point is you better write good ones. It's that simple.
How I want you to, can you talk about a time when you were, I mean, do you kick pedals? And can you talk about the time when you, like when you know, in an earlier setting, or even with Santana, when you were actually kicking pedals, or, you know, you accentuating or offsetting what
I could stop you right now.
Yeah.
When I got that first B3, I put that the pedals against the wall and put pictures on it.
Wow, never. Oh, wow.
It was a piece of artwork. Well, I'm playing in a rock band. I got a bass player.
Right.
Why would I do that?
Well,
Yeah. Plus, the way I approach the organ, my first lesson on a Hammond B3 was taken off a Hoochie Coochie Man by Jimmy Smith, and I was interested in his blues. His style is amazing. The guy's rhythm sense and the way he played solos and stuff. I just studied it, and it was based off the blues side of him, not the jazz side, because that's what I wanted to do. And had a bass player, and so why am I going to sit there and fiddle around trying to figure out how to do this and become an organ band? I don't want to be an organ band. I'm a frustrated guitarist. I can't play one, so I structure my solos and stuff like I was playing guitar in a lot of ways, with some organ bits in between. It's been this trip, and so I don't play it completely the same. It's not like I've always of late said I'm like the Muddy Waters of keyboard. I play slide organ. Nobody plays it quite the same.
I love this. So you were not. I mean, because Jimmy, people will say he was the first bebop organist, but you were looking at it from the blues. From the blues side of things, and the pedals were a piece of artwork on the wall. I had this sort of inclination, thinking like maybe Rolie was, maybe he saw Jack McDuff at some point and got super inspired to start kicking pedals. I mean, was there ever? Have you ever played Have you ever played a Stone Jazz gig, or what was the closest thing to jazz? Was it Journey?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we touched on it in Santana in a different way. And it became just ethereal and different. But playing strictly jazz, no. I learned a lot of stuff from Jimmy Smith, Les McCann, because of the same sort of thing, the rhythmic sense of these guys. Eddie Harris, the electrifying Eddie Harris,
badass. Yeah, badass.
Awesome.
Badass.
I turned Carlos onto that one, and in fact, the song "Treat" came from a song that was on that album, but they were doing it in some jazz chords, and that became the G minor, the C major that
really
Zappa called the secret Santana chord progression. I loved it. We're playing two chords, same six guys, same two chords. Here we go.
That was that off compared to what? What was that? The Eddie Harris Les McCann album?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't compared to what I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was like Spanish Bowl or something like that.
I'll have to do some,
off of the Eddie Harris. It was off the Eddie Harris album, though.
Did you, looking back on it, I mean, can you talk about the whole and being the sum of the parts? And I part of my show is predicated on love, so I just wanted to get your concept of love. And ultimately, you receive these awards now. It's really rare to be inducted twice into a music hall of fame. But I mean, can you talk about, would you be there without all the peeps, all the cats around you?
No, it is a group effort. And I said so in my inductions, it was in one of the 50 interviews I did. It's really true. It's like when you're playing with a group of guys, you got to be playing with them and off of them, and things happen because of them. Another way of putting, Carlos Santana and I did a lion's share of the work in Santana in the early band of writing and arranging. But without the other guys, it would have been totally different. And so it always is that. And I don't care if it's 10% that the guy gives or whatever it is. It counts. And I happened to run into people that had the same idea about music as I did at the time when I wanted to do it. I've been so fortunate to be able to match up with people that wanted to do the same sort of thing and make music grow and just get it up. And so it's who I've met, when I met them, and time and space. I mean, a lot of this is just totally out of anybody's control. It
Sure.
just kind of happens.
No, I mean, that to me. Yeah, go ahead.
And so, I mean, for me, it's recognizing that instead of going, "Yeah, I did it." No, I did plenty, but I was there and I helped, and it grew, and we've reached millions upon millions of people with our music in both bands, and now with Ringo. I mean, I'm just, it's unbelievable for me, all of it.
Well, I mean, it is tremendous. I mean, did you considering that you were a major songwriter, you carried the lion's share with Carlos. Were you marinating in like the Cal Jader music, the Latin jazz, or was the first time? Because I mean, Santana's Latin rock. You came from
No, I listened to that stuff when I was younger. I didn't really get up. Vince Guaraldi, I loved him, but I listened to it. But I had no design on when I was young. I had no design of being unlike a lot of musicians, of being a professional musician until the Beatles popped, and now, well, man, this is cool. I watching their movies and that, man, I should try this. and I got with Carlos, and we met, and he was doing the same thing I wanted to do. I was in a band called William Penn that was a cover band, and I realized that I don't do this well. I don't play other people's music well if I got to just copy it. But if I get to make it my own and it's got to feel, you're not just copy. I don't want to just play a bunch of notes like I can't read it. And besides, music is for hearing, not reading. And in my book,
that's right.
And
no,
so if you can hear it, you probably can play it. And so, and so I've done everything by ear, and then it changes to what's comfortable for me, and I've just been fortunate to be able to translate that to the public.
When do you think you'll come to Tucson? That's where I'm based out of. I would love to have you even in with your own band. I mean, I haven't seen you come down here in a minute.
You know what? I don't know when I'd have to go look at schedules and stuff. I don't have anything scheduled. I don't think for that area this year at all. And right now, what I'm working on is finishing a recording of about 12 songs that I started before Santana 4, and I had to put it on hold. I was almost finished with it, and I put it on hold to finish it until all of this had taken place. Between that and traveling with Ringo, I just didn't have time to do it. And now I got a window of opportunity this summer, and I'm going to take it and finish this thing off and try and get it out. It's going to be called Sonic Ranch, by the way.
So, I want.
It's named after.
Go ahead.
It's named after a studio in El Paso called Sonic Ranch. I asked him, "Can I use that?" Yeah. So that's where it came from.
Well, I definitely want to have you come back on when you're ready to release it. But before I let you go, can you just talk about your musical relationship with Michaelshreeve and what makes him unique as a drummer?
Oh, sure. He's one of my favorites. The thing I've always thought about Michael is that he call him a lyrical drummer. He actually plays when there's a song there. He's playing to the song more so than a lot of drummers who just are playing to drum.
Right. I
mean, he really sinks in with what should go with this song, with this part of the tune. There's something should happen here, and in the percussive role, and he does it really well. He gets the right stuff for me anyway. I love his playing. He's always been since we first met. I mean, he actually said one of my favorite things that he said. He goes, Woodstock, we're playing 500,000 people, and I took a drum solo down to a hi-hat. What was I thinking?
Oh, man.
I thought it was awesome. I never even thought about it because you see it in the movie and it's loud as hell, and he's playing it and everybody gets to see it. But 500,000 people, I mean, it was really it's quite a thought. I took it to a hi-hat, 500,000 people. What was I thinking?
It worked out. It worked out pretty well. I mean, that's pretty.
Oh, it worked out. Yeah, that's because it was filmed. But he's right. I mean, it was like, but that's the way we played. We played off of each other. Carlos's back was the audience. We played to each other like a jazz band, very much so, and that's how that music got developed.
Gregg, I'd love to pick up with you part 2 when you get Sonic Ranch out, and it was just an honor to connect with you, man. I would love to continue our dialogue.
Okay, Jake. That's cool.
All right, brother. Have a great day, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.